People love Rita. They love Prisoner, you know? It's just amazing. All these years later, and it's still having these fan events.
Hey there, it's Connor Muller, and welcome to Let's Chat Showbiz. This podcast is all about Australian showbiz. We're talking the glitz, the glam, the tough times, and everything in between. Let's get this show on the road. Today's guest is an acclaimed actress, director, writer, and a true icon of Australian showbiz. With a career spanning stage and screen, she's appeared in some of the country's most beloved shows, including A Country Practice, Prisoner, Winners and Losers, Neighbours, and Murdercall, just to name a few. We're absolutely thrilled to welcome Glenda Linscott.
Such a lovely introduction.
Thank you for being here. Now, you've had an extraordinary career on stage and screen. Now, let's start with your upcoming role in the State Theatre Company of South Australia's The Importance of Being Earnest.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about the role that you play and what audiences
Lady
can
Bracknell.
expect.
Lady Bracknell, well, I think Lady Bracknell's quite well known. Oscar Wilde, Importance of Being Earnest by Oscar Wilde, written in 1895, performed in 1895, is a delicious, wicked social satire where Oscar Wilde takes the ridiculousness of the Victorian age and, all the pretensions of being, approved by a certain high society and pricks the hypocrisy over and over and over again in the most witty and delicious way. So the play involves two sets of lovers, well, actually three sets of lovers if you include Miss Prism and Dr. Jezebel, but Jack and Algernon are in love respectively with Gwendolyn and Cecily, and they have a secret. They have a secret persona. So Algernon has a secret persona called Mr. Bunbury, who resides in the country and is terribly ill. He's an invalid. And so that allows Algernon to escape the city and go to the country whenever he wants to go Bunburying, whatever that means. And similarly, Algernon, who's his best friend, has invented a character called Ernest, which allows him to escape from the country where he lives to get up to the city whenever he wants to. And at the beginning of the play, Jack, his name is arrives at Algernon's house and wants to propose to Gwendolyn, and he plans to kill off Ernest when he's married because he won't need the split person. So the theme of having to invent another persona in order for you to be free and to be able to express yourself, in another environment is very much one of the sort of underpinning, like who is the self? Who are you? Who are you when you're being your authentic, and what is preventing you from being your authentic self? And of course, in this play, in the context, it's Victorian England with all the pretensions to being socially acceptable in the upper classes. And so Lady Bracknell is Algernon's Aunt Augusta, and she it represents in the sort of Wildean world everything that is repressive about the Victorian society. So she's a dowager. She's described as a gorgon. She's a battle axe, and she comes in and says, you will do things my way, and you will have to do it properly. So the absolute anathema to her is that anybody who does anything in the family that will allow them to become socially disgraced. And because of that, because that compression, with that pressure she puts on the two sets of lovers is where all comedy comes from.
Yeah.
And it's just wicked and deliciously funny and hilarious, and we just spend most of the time weeping on the floor with laughter because it's just so funny.
And of course, it's an South Australian cast.
It's an all South Australian cast.
It's brilliant.
Hello, because of course I was born overseas, but I grew up in Australia. I came to Australia in the 60s when I was 7 or 8, and I went to primary school in Whyalla and Clare, and then high school in Adelaide, where I was the State Theatre Saturday Company Youth Theatre, and then I got into NIDA from there and sort of went and trained. But my family's remained here, and I've been back here all the time, which is where I met you.
Yes.
All those years ago.
Now,
you were a little thing.
I was. Now, Lady Bracknell has previously been played by Dame Maggie Smith.
Oh.
What?
Well, and to name just, one name you just got to pick up off the floor there. I mean, Lady Bracknell's been played by, the greats from every decade going back to the 1900s. Edith Evans, and Wendy Hillier, Penelope Keith, Maggie Smith, and of course, then we talk about the male actors that have played it. But Maggie Smith, I mean, I did when I was cast. When Petra rang me up and said, "Would you like to do it?" I went, "Oh yeah," but it's such a famous role, and he's got such famous lines to say, and I just found myself having to say, "Look, I just relish all those performances, and everyone has their own unique mark on it, and I'm just going to have to surrender and do what I tell my students to do, which is just bring it from yourself. Bring the your connection to the journey." And in fact, Petra, the way that she's assembled the cast that she's got, and her vision for it, her and Catherine Sprowley, who's done the design, which is amazing. It's really made it easy for us to find a fresh new approach to it that makes it our own South Australian version.
Yeah. It's very exciting.
It is exciting, yeah. So I'm so glad you picked up that point, that all South Australian actors are just wonderful.
Yeah. And that's on from the 8th of May to the 30th of May.
Correct.
At the Dunstan Playhouse.
Yes. It sounds far too close.
Now, another stage show you did was in 2008. You played Shirley Valentine.
Oh, yeah.
One-woman show.
Oh, yeah.
What are your memories of working on that?
Oh, well, what a play. Truly extraordinary. A wonderful blessing to play it. And I had a wonderful director, Jennifer Hagan. And it was Hit Productions, and we toured Australia. So it was a 9 months national tour. And because it was a one-woman show, we just had a stage manager and a driver. And it was the three of us, and we went thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of kilometres around Australia. So a couple of things about it. I mean, the joy of playing her, it was unbelievable. But to be able to take that play to Australia and play it in all the regions was such a gift. And every single audience responded to her. And, it's such a beautiful message. Like Willie Russell's plays are, feminist pieces, really. So, and people love a comedy, and she was such a delightful character, but it was all heart too. She finally, in the end, sort of comes into herself, and she says, "I'm not going to be treated like that anymore. I'm standing at the beginning of my new life, and my husband's coming towards me. There's an invitation there to come on the journey as equals, not as how I was." So it was a truly joyous play. The one little funny anecdote is that, I don't know, those of you who remember the play, that she's cooking in the first act.
Yeah.
And you didn't see it too.
No,
she's cooking. She has to cook. Yeah, you would have been 3. Well.
I saw Natalie Bass do it recently.
Oh, yeah. Right. Okay. Oh, of course.
Yeah.
So working out how to cook the egg and chips so that they arrive cooked.
Yeah.
So that was hard maths. Like Jenny and I were going, well, it takes this long to peel a potato, and this long to cut it up, and this long to fry it, and this long for the thing to hit. So at this moment I have to turn it on. This moment I have to peel it. It was hilarious trying to do that.
Now, going back to 1978, you were a graduate at NIDA.
Oh, yes.
How did that become?
Oh, well, when I was very young, like before teenager, I grew up, my parents were moving all around. I was born in Africa. They moved around. My dad was a policeman, so he moved and moved and moved. And then we went to England for a couple of years, and then we came out to Australia and moved from Whyalla to Clare. So wherever my parents moved, they joined the local amateur theatre company or musical company or whatever. And if there wasn't one, then they'd create one. So I grew up thinking that being part of a community and telling stories and being in plays and musicals, and I thought that was normal. I thought that's what everybody did, and I loved it. And so when I was about 11 years old, I think I got like a Girls' Own for Christmas one year. And there was an article in it about RADA. I said, "Mum, that's where I'm going to go." And she went, "Oh, well, I think maybe, darling, with this one in Australia, it's called NIDA." Anyway, so she wrote away for the NIDA prospectus, and I got it when I was about 12, and I went, "That's what I want to do." And I knew that you needed your in those days it was a matric, your year 12. So I just head down, bum up. I joined youth theatres through high school, and I did a lot of amateur theatre as a teenager. And I got my matric, and I auditioned for NIDA and got in at 17. Way too young.
Wow.
Way too young. And in fact, that experience kind of, when I later in later life, when I became an actor trainer, I just went, I'm just never taking anyone that's too... It was very rare.
Yeah.
I did take a couple of people who were school leavers.
Yeah.
But it needed to be well supported and very, mature and emotionally resilient, so anyway.
From 2015 to 2022, you were
yes. Oh, yes.
head of WAAPA,
Yes.
7 years.
Well, not head of WAAPA. I was the head of... No. It was because WAAPA is an academy, so it's got not just acting program. It's a conservatoire training institution that trains actors, contemporary theatre performers, dancers, musicians, music theatre, Aboriginal performers, blah, blah, blah. So I was running the acting program, yes, for 7 years, nearly 8 years.
Did you enjoy that role?
Oh, what I loved was being in the room with some of the most Australian, most talented Australian young people. And the gift of that opportunity was to be able to create with an amazing team a program that really supported young actors to reach their potential by the time they graduated. I enjoyed that very much, and I really was an enormous privilege to train the young people that I did get to train, but it was very difficult by the end. It was COVID hit, and there was all sorts of challenges. Universities around the world were experiencing challenges, and so there was a lot of there were a lot of challenges by the end. So I left towards the end of 2022, I think. Yeah.
Now, moving on to your screen career. 1985 to 1986.
Oh, well, this is where we became friends.
Yes. You played top dog Rita Connors in Prisoner.
Rita Connors.
What was it like working on Prisoner?
Well, I mean, Prisoner was a seminal experience in my life, and it's still with me to this day. And it was 40, I'm celebrating 40 years this year since I was cast in that role. In those days, Prisoner had been going a long time. It was already, had been a sort of iconic Australian, and it had sort of dipped in popularity. Well, I suppose it's fair to say that. And there was a perception in those days that if you did a television soap opera, that it would ruin your theatre career. And so there was quite a lot of resistance. I wouldn't say I resisted, but I knew that if I accepted something like Prisoner, especially since it was at the end of its run, that it may have a negative impact on my career. However, I loved it. I got the brief and I went, oh, this is exciting. She's pikey and I had, and as an actor, I love the preparation, but the research. So I rang up my friend. I said, how am I going to find out about what it's like to be in prison? And how am I going to find out about what it's like to be a bikie chick? And so all of these things started to happen. And, people who know me and who know the publicity I've done around prison will know that I went to Malawai Female Detention Centre and ran some drama workshops. But in return, I had a collection of people who were able to speak to. I said, look, I don't want to know about your life. That's your private business. And, I don't want to, it's not ethical. But here's an imaginary character. Her name's Rita Connors. This is what she would be charged with. And this is the sort of sentence she'd say, what would it be like for a woman like that? Absolutely amazing to have that. So I gathered all this research, and then my best friend and I, Christina's still my best friend, hired a space, and I had the first 3 scripts, and we rehearsed it, and I workshopped it, and I had the walk and the bandana and the thing and the chains so it was an exhilarating experience to create or to prepare that character. And then when I arrived on set, I had that amazing first entrance and hit that, the tumble dryer and everybody went, whoa, okay. And it often happens when you get a high energy, high impact character, it just raises it for everyone else. So it was sort of reinvigorated relationships with the other cast members or their characters in the Prisoner. And I honestly had a ball. Like 15 months I worked on it, and it was incredibly hard work because I was in everything. I was doing 100-hour weeks. That bit wasn't very nice. It wouldn't be allowed now. I think there would be.
You probably wouldn't be going to prisons to do research now either.
Maybe not. But I mean, there are ways to get primary research done. But maybe I wouldn't have that sort of access anymore. No. But incredible lifelong friends, incredible opportunities to play, and and play with my own actor's process, because it's so fast turnaround television. Like all your expectations just get whittled away until in the end I thought, I've got this scene. If I can just make one moment work, if I'm in the scene with the partner, and then it will get edited together. So I learned so much about craft doing that show. Little did I know that it would go where it was going to go.
Yeah. Well, that's my next question is, obviously it's still got a huge following.
Yeah.
Fan events over in overseas, in Australia.
That's right, yeah.
Do you think Prisoner changed your life a bit?
It changed my life in that I have the love and appreciation of a whole 4 generations now of Prisoner fans. And that has impacted my life on a day-to-day basis, where someone will rush up and go, oh, hi, you that chick from Prisoner, and can I have a selfie? And it had exactly 0 impact on my career.
Yeah, okay.
Because in Australia, like, Prisoner was axed. You probably know that there are like 9 months of episodes in the can. We were shooting 9 months ahead, so I had a year, I had 12 months. So my episodes didn't actually come to air until I'd almost finished shooting.
Yeah.
But by that time, Channel 10 had decided to axe the show. So the body of my work, a year's worth of my work, was Channel 10 had dropped the series. So the Australian audiences didn't really get to know Rita, because episodes were buried at 2 a.m, and 3 weeks later the next episode would go. So I was unemployed for 18 months straight after. There was nothing, not a squeak. And that's why, in a way, in the end, I accepted Grundy's. Oh, no, I didn't. I got married, and then we went to the UK because my then husband got a job at the BBC.
Oh, yeah.
And while I was there, Grundy's found out I was there and said, would you be in the play? So this was before Rita even hit the screens. So I had that experience with Patsy King and Shirley Valentine, and played Amanda Muggleton's role in that, which was bizarre and wonderful. So it gave me all those experiences and that opportunity, but it did absolutely nothing. And really, Rita didn't become a thing until those episodes hit the UK.
Right.
And it was the UK fan base that was sort of 4 or 5 years after I'd done. That was really when Rita started to become popular. And then there was a sort of swash back to Australia. And so it was the sort of second generation of audiences that found Rita. So it was really quite strange. Yeah, it was quite a strange thing.
Yeah.
And it isn't really industry people that recognise me for Rita. It's you guys, which I'm very grateful for.
Yeah.
I've had nothing but appreciation and respect, and people love Rita. They love Prisoner. It's just amazing. All these years later, and it's still having these fan events in the UK. Actors are now dying out.
No, but quite literally.
Quite literally, yeah.
I feel like every time you open Facebook, there's like another person.
Yeah.
It's gone. But you did work with an incredible cast.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I had some amazing.
Louise Siverson, Oscar Valentine, Maggie Patrick, Lois Collender, you're still friends with?
Oh, well, yeah, all of them, all of those.
Yeah.
I don't see them very much because they're mostly Melbourne-based, a couple in Sydney, and I've been away for so long. But whenever I get to Melbourne, I always see Ellie and Lois. Lois is very close. Lois has sort of become a family member.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, in episode 9 of Let's Chat Showbiz, I interviewed Jen Valetti. Now, we spoke about The Howling 3, which obviously you guys worked on together.
Got it on the table.
What are your memories of working on that?
Oh, my God. Oh, it was very early in my career. I think it might have even, Jen and I, might have been our first film or something.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, The Howling was the thing. People were very, and Philly Moore, I was doing the third Howling Part 3, and we went, why not, and we were playing this quartet of werewolf sisters, thylacines, weren't we? We were thylacines. So it was Carol Skinner, Jen Valetti, me, and, what was that gorgeous girl's name? The young one who played the lead. Oh, I'm so sorry, I've forgotten her name. It was a very long time ago. Anyway, but what I remember is that we had to go and get prosthetic makeup done. Now, Carol was a smoker. I'm sure she won't mind me telling you a story. She said, because it was this bit way, decades before CGI.
Yeah.
So they wanted to show the development of the, turning into the thylacine werewolf. The three of us. So they said, Carol will give you the smallest one, the early changes so that you can be out of the chair and go and have your cigarette. I was the middle one. I think Jen was the full man.
Right.
And it was like 4 hours or something in the chair. And sticking it on, the glue sort of sticking on the way. And then Carol finishes and she gets up, goes to the end of the caravan because we're all on location, right? And then you hear Carol going, "Oh, thanks very much." You go, "What's wrong, Carol?" She said, "Well, it looks like me." So it was very, very, very fun. Anyway, we had quite a significant storyline. It was a subplot, and which they ended up cutting. And so the only thing I think you see from memory, because I haven't watched it for 40 years, is there's a bus scene, and I bark at a child, and then we arrive at a fancy dress party and Frank Three knows, oh, very good or whatever. But who are they? Because all of that backstory is cut and is on it's about 20 minutes worth of materials is gone. Anyway, very funny, very silly.
From 97 to 2000, you played Tootsie in Murder Call.
Yes.
Did you enjoy playing that role?
I did. It was a very different experience to any television I'd done before. Largely because Hal McElroy and the creative team were inspired by The X-Files, the American show, and they wanted an Australian television series to look as glamorous as that. It was shot on film, but with multi-film cameras going. So it wasn't really like those sort of fast turnarounds television with the video cameras. It still had the kind of rigor of a film, but it created this purpose-built studio with all the sets in it. And so it meant that they could shoot it as fast as television, but it had the kind of look. So we'd do all the outside broadcast scenes, on location, and then we'd go into the studio, and I just remember the crew calling the six of us who were the cut leads, the A team, because there was no time to do any second or third takes. So I would often have to come in because I was the forensic pathologist. So I'd be there going, complicated word after complicated word and having to sort of deal with props. And props is a thing, I'm always hopeless with props. But you'd get one rehearsal, one take, and you're gone. It was just, I found it very nerve-wracking. Yeah. I found the stress of it quite different from, in a funny way, Prisoner was sort of looser and more, and I have done guests on lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of telly, but I actually found the pressure of Murder Call quite intense. However, I did love working with Jeff Morrell. He and I had done a lot of theatre together. We'd just come off the back of one of the, I think it was Speaking in Tongues or something, can't remember. And he was wonderful. He said, I think that, if you have the power in the autopsy scene and I have the power in the crime scene, we can play this sort of. And if we embed something in between a line in every episode, they'll eventually have to start writing. And that's exactly what they did. They started to write for this. So this sort of tension between the two characters became quite popular with the audience. So, and when Kerry Packer decided to axe the show, there was a strong push to do a spin-off series with us, but that didn't happen.
Yeah, right. Interesting.
But that was nice to be asked.
Yeah. Now, you also had a role on Neighbours. Jessica
I did.
Girdwood.
Oh, there you go.
Do you have memories of working on that?
I do. Well, because I was back with Jackie Woodburn.
Yeah.
And Alan. And I was playing the other woman. Is that right?
Yeah.
A surgeon, and I remember sitting with the two of them in the Harry's, the bar. Yeah. I said, how come I'm a character that you know very well? Oh, darling, just because of plot. That's just I went, okay. But that was really special because it was in the same studio that we shot Prisoner, and a lot of the crew were the same.
Oh, wow.
And of course, I was back there with Jack. So it were, even though, I mean, being a television actress, you go and you do these things, it has a big impact because, you know, it's there, but I was really only there for a few days. So it was just it's like a trip down memory lane, and I got to wear some glamorous clothes, which was gorgeous. And, you know, and get your hair done and glamorous makeup and go, oh, well, I quite like this.
Do you prefer stage or screen?
Oh, I love them both. I think that my heart is stage because that's where I started, and I love the stage. I'm also, you know, as you get older, the stage roles get fewer and far between. So that's why Lady Bracknell is such a joy, because you're back home. But you learn your craft on stage, you know, you learn, and you're with an ensemble, and you're like a family for that period of time, telling that story to a live audience. And that live experience is just, it's nothing like it. Like you're sharing something and you're connected to other human beings. But what you learn on stage is the actor's home is absolutely what fuels the skills you need for television and film. Yeah.
Of course, you played Lily Patterson in Winners and Losers.
Oh, yes.
Did you enjoy your time on Winners and Losers?
I loved Winners and Losers. And I especially love being Virginia Gay's mum.
That's what I was going to ask you, is working with Virginia Gay. What was that like?
We adored it.
Yeah.
I adored that role. I thought she was a catastrophe. Absolutely wonderful fun. And, you know, and a lovely visualization by the writers for a character who was like not perfect and a bit of a, you know, mess up as a human being. And that was just such a joy to play that. And I was really hopeful that character might last a bit longer, but I think that the storylines went a different way. That's okay. But yeah, well, and every time I see Virginia, I feel extraordinarily proud of her. Like coming here to Adelaide to look after the Cabaret Festival, it's like watching her go to her happy place. She's just an amazing Australian talent.
Now, we recently saw you in the film Kangaroo Island. What was it like filming those scenes?
Well, Kangaroo Island is very close to my heart because my parents lived there for many, many, many years.
Okay, yeah.
And I used to, you know, take my kids when they were little to holidays there, and the Kangaroo Island's very special. And there are a lot of friends there. Oh, sorry, just playing with the microphone. We did this 3 years ago again. We shot it 3 years ago again. It was like one day. And Vivon Bay is where we shot the cafe owner from Hell is from, and that's actually the cafe that Vivon Bay. So I used to go there and drive there and get my, you know, lemonades and my fish and chips. So it was quite weird to be in there. But wow, again, sort of like Prisoner, I'm amazed at the response. People seem to really, even though that character's only there for 2 minutes, they really, really like her. And I get people telling my lines back to me and thinking, oh, well, that must have worked.
Now, I'm not sure if you can say much, but you have been named as a cast member in the upcoming Treasure and Dirt. So exciting.
Yes, it is. And I am. That's going to be something to watch. That's quite extraordinary. I only have a little tiny bit in again, but, you know, watch this space. Colin Hammer story, shot in Cooper Pedy, extraordinary director, Madden Gottlieb and her beautiful crew, stunning cast, like really interesting, unusual, fresh look at how to tell that kind of crime noir. It's going to be very interesting. Yeah. I believe it's coming up in July.
Okay, so soon.
I think soon, yeah.
Now, obviously, you mentioned earlier you often get
ABC.
You often get recognised.
Yes.
Does it bother you?
Look, if I'm having a bad day and someone comes up and, you know, I think, oh, but my son, if he's with me, will say, Mum, you've just made that person's day. And I'm always mindful of that. I'm always it takes a lot for someone to come up to someone else and say, I really loved you in that show. And all they want to do is share love and appreciation. And I'm quite a shy person, naturally anyway, introverted person. And so I have felt that there's a part of me that goes into gratitude and you give that, thanks to the person. And that's part of the job. To be honest, it's just gone on for 40 years.
Yeah.
But no, I think I've come through a journey with it, and especially when the UK Prisoner Fan Club started to fly me out. Like that started with beautiful Barry Campbell years ago in 2011, was it? Maybe earlier. When it was at PayPal first, it became a thing, whenever that was. And Facebook was just beginning to be a thing. And the fans in the UK and Scotland were able to give whatever they could afford, 50p or £1 or whatever, £10, to Barry, put it in an account until they had enough money to pay for my flight so that I could go out and have dinner with them.
Wow.
And that blew me away. I mean, that blew me away. And that then became Screen Star events.
Yeah.
And, Barry's done dozens and dozens and dozens of events now as a result of that. But, that sort of desire for a fan base to meet you in person, that was extraordinary. And I think that it was also because Rita and the actors that I played with at the end of the 8 years didn't ever get that flush. Because the first cast, the famous cast with Val and what have you and Maggie, and there was a lot of events that happened in the UK, which I wasn't ever part of. So when the fans took it upon themselves as a grassroots movement to say, we want to meet Glenda or these people, I mean, it's just, it blows me away. I didn't really know how to deal with it, except just to say thank you. And when I was invited back 2 years later, I put together a one-woman show so that I could say thank you. And that was called Retrospectively Rita. That was actually really, because a lot of people were asking me about the theatre work that I'd done. And so I thought, well, I'll put together a few bits and pieces. And it was actually really interesting. It was really interesting to put all the roles that I've played. And they were all, because I suppose I live in this huge body, they were all heroic in some way, or, leaders, or like, the woman in Steaming, or the woman in Shirley Valentine, or, the characters I played in the various new pieces of theatre I did at Griffin Theatre. They're all like, the female heroic journey. Yeah. Like, well, Rita's like that. Yeah.
Now, out of your entire career, what would be the highlight of your career?
Meeting Connor at the Willa Cinema in
when I was 11. Yeah.
When you were 11.
Yeah.
My highlight, gosh. Well, I mean, I have been extraordinarily blessed in my career, and I've had some amazing experiences. I don't really know the answer to. I feel like I've had a career that's been a mixture of brand new work that I've been able to help co-create, and world premieres like Speaking in Tongues, which was the Andrew Bavell play. I was very proud of that, because that was like sort of groundbreaking new form. It's old hat now, but at the time it was really something new. And I am proud of Prisoner. I think Prisoner was, an exceptional achievement, with not just Rita, but all of us working at that level to produce 2 hours of television a week that was an incredible achievement. And I've had some wonderful lead roles in major theatre shows. And the latest one is Lady Bracknell. So I feel incredibly lucky and very blessed. Yeah.
Now, at the end of each episode, I ask a question to ask the next guest.
Ooh.
Now, our last guest was cabaret icon Dolly Diamond, and her question was,
if you were Prime Minister, what's the very first thing you do when you got into office?
That's an excellent question. I went, fund universities, fund childcare, but yes. Let's follow the Irish. Let's have a living wage for all artists.
Yes. Now, that means a question to ask the next guest.
Well, that's a bit mean. Question without notice.
Can be about absolutely anything.
What's your favourite guilty pleasure?
Oh, that's a bit saucy. I like that. Now, my final question I have to ask you
Yes.
is there anyone you think in the industry that would be good on Let's Chat Showbiz?
Oh, well, I think of lots of people.
Please, list them.
Well, you get all the cast of of Earnest.
Well, they're all South Australian.
I know, and you've got. Well, I suppose you've done Virginia, haven't you?
I have not done Virginia.
You've done Virginia
I have
Gay?
not done Virginia Gay. So Virginia, come on.
Yeah. So, do they have to be in South Australia, or can you do
Not
it on
necessary.
Zoom?
I try to do them in person, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But people come here
Well,
all the
people
time.
come all the time.
That's right, yeah.
Well, you've got the art boys coming in. You
Yeah.
should do Damon Herriman
Yes,
because he's Adelaide.
yes. He's on the list.
Oh, he's on the list, is he?
He
Okay.
is. No, that's great.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
Damon.
thank you. Yeah.
Damon and I did a play together when he was just out of drama school. We did a Nick Enright play called St. James Infirmary.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And he was amazing. Played a schoolboy.
Yeah.
And look at him. Look at his career. Look at him go.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal. Well, that brings us to the end of our chat. Thank you so
thank
much
you,
for your
Connor.
time, Glenda.
It was really lovely questions. Thank you for your good questions. And I wish you all the very best.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for tuning in. If you want more episodes of Let's Chat Showbiz, you can follow along on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Instagram, TikTok, and even Facebook for all you oldies. See you next time on Let's Chat Showbiz.